Welcome to another episode of Hackla Podcast, where we bring you real conversations with safety leaders shaping the future of workplace and urban safety. Today's episode will focus on a critical and evolving topic: fire safety in urban India. As India's cities become denser and infrastructure more complex, fire safety risks are rapidly changing, influenced by modern materials, electric vehicles, rooftop solar systems, and high rise buildings. These developments require a fresh approach to fire safety, ensuring that our cities remain safe and resilient. As we are recording this podcast just yesterday, there was a fire accident in Delhi claiming 9 lives. So the big question is, how should fire safety systems evolve to keep up with these emerging risks in India's urban landscape? To answer this, we are joined by Dr. Praveen Vijayan, PhD, Assistant Professor at the Fire and Combustion Research Center, Jain University, Bangalore, an expert in accidental fires, combustion, heat transfer, especially the thermal radiation, estimation of thermal radiation from fire, and threat zone mapping. He brings over 10 years of expertise as an academic and researcher in new fire safety solutions in modern urban setting. Dr. Praveen, welcome to the show, and it's great to have you with me today.
Thank you, Mr. Amber. Thank you for the intro and thank you for the invitation to the show. So I'll try to share my knowledge with you and your audience. I have the research understanding and a limited practical exposure. So I'll be happy to share that.
Thank you. So let's get started.
Sure.
So Dr. Praveen, with the rapid urbanization in India, what are some of the most significant emerging fire risks that we need to pay attention?
Okay. Uh, in this context, I will view this as two separate elements. One element being the inherent fire risk that we have in the society, uh, that may be viewed as the low uh, readiness towards fire safety and low awareness level, our perception that fire accident is never going to happen. Such inherent problems are there. Apart from that, there are some new and emerging problems, mainly due to uh, the changes in the urban fabric and new materials being introduced and new ways in which we plan and organize things. So there's a new risk as well. So I will view this as the inherent level problem as well as the new problems that we have. So altogether combined, we need to view this as a risk. So that is my view on this. The new part, I will emphasize more on the buildings getting taller and the building density is getting increased, population density increase, and engineers and fire people, there is the fire load being increased and the new materials being added. We have and more synthetic materials that is in our dwellings, and we have EVs, electric vehicles. We have lithium and battery in several forms inside our room, and we have inside outside building changes. We have new facade systems, we have a new ventilation system, HVAC systems are also getting evolved, and we have exterior cladding, that the facade I mentioned. Apart from that, we have PV, solar rooftops are there. So altogether, there is a change that is evolving to the buildings and the urban setting.
Okay. So, as we incorporate more modern material, like you mentioned synthetic furniture, high rise buildings, how does this change the fire dynamics compared to traditional buildings?
Okay. Yes, that is an important element to note here. We have a shift from materials like wood and natural cellulosic material to synthetic material like PU foam, polyurethane foam. So in every modern interior, you can say this, we can see that this synthetic materials are dense storage of synthetic materials we can see. So the fire dynamics is different. So to understand, I will just give you a brief of the fire dynamics that in a particular room, typical behavior. Fire is ignited in a particular, it can be any reason. It can be due to a cigarette butt or else short circuit. So fire starts, then grows, then there's a shift called flashover to a fully developed point. So it's like if you just consider temperature, there's a particular temperature inside the room, and there's a sudden shift to a high temperature. That sudden shift is called flashover. So that sudden jump in temperature is very important. That flashover point. So from temperature around 500, 600 degrees Celsius inside the room, top ceiling, you can expect flashover. Then after that, it can shoot up to 800, 1000 kind of temperatures. And then it will slowly decay. That's the typical pattern. So in this, you need to be viewed that there's an important axis, time axis is there. It is mapped against the time. So fire engineering and fire safety, we are often concerned about the time. So time is the vital thing. So it is directly linked to the life safety. So earlier intervention, earlier this evacuation is the key in life safety. So in if you consider the dynamics, natural materials offer more time for you to survive. So, for instance, if you consider PU form, um, you cannot expect if a room will be in flashover. Room can be go to flashover at a time of 5 minutes. If you take, then natural cellulosic material, our conventional rooms, it is on the other hand, it can go up to 30 minutes, half an hour. So such a difference is there. So it's a stark difference in if you view it as a life safety, because flashover I mentioned 500, 600 to 800, 900, such a temperature change is there. And tenability, human life, that is planned as low as 60 degrees Celsius also. So all the life safety operation or the evacuation, it should happen within or much less a time than the flashover. So if you imagine a room goes to flashover by 5 minutes in a synthetic material dumped room, then how much time you have for tenable, from tenable condition to untenable condition, you can imagine. It is hardly a few minutes. So that time is important. That's a dynamic, fire dynamic shift is that important aspect that we need to consider.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. So
Yeah,
now
and
that
I would recommend
flashpoint,
that. Yes,
yeah.
there is actually an interesting video as well. UL FSRI research team have put this as a. It is interesting to see. Many places, it's a very popular video as well. They have clearly demonstrated the difference. They have used the synthetic materials in one piece. They use the natural wood and materials in another piece. It's a good, interesting to see actually.
Right. Yeah, 5 minutes is nothing, right? I mean, half an hour, still fire brigade can do something.
Yeah, it's also an extreme point. I told you that flashover is something that is extreme. We cannot expect that kind of temperatures inside a room, and life safety planning has to be done. Before flashover, much before that, we should complete all this life safety operation, evacuation and all. So flashover itself is an upper ceiling. It's this fire dynamics entire thing is divided to pre-flashover stage and post-flashover stage. So pre-flashover is the area where we need to focus on life safety. So that itself is that different I was mentioning.
Okay. So, Dr. Praveen, you also mentioned about electric vehicles and rooftop solar
Yes.
systems,
Correct.
which are becoming common nowadays in cities.
Yeah.
So, what new fire safety concerns do they present, and how can we mitigate them?
Okay. See, EVs, electric vehicles, as well as PV, photovoltaic solar rooftops, both are, I would say, it is relatively new to our built environments. That means EV parking lots, EV charging points, solar rooftop installations. These are new, relatively new, and they can be viewed as relatively new hazards as well. So we cannot demonize or these EVs and PV installations, because our country, India itself, India is looking forward For a EV based traffic system, solar based economy. So we cannot reject these technologies. We very well need to incorporate that is there, but these are new. That is the thing into the built environment. And EVs, if we consider uh, myself, I too have a practical experience that EV charging points inside the building, individual charging points in underground parking lot. They are taking from a very long. They are taking long cables, long power cables, and the underground parking lots. Whether are they evolved to handle EV fires? Such questions are there. So EVs, I view as this. There is actually gray areas which need evolve. It has to evolve. Technically, it has to evolve. It will happen in due course. There is this research happening, but that is actually a gray area, and people don't know how to handle a EV fire accident. That's the reality, and management is difficult, extinguishment is difficult. So that is one aspect that we have in built environment. Apart from that, as you rightly mentioned, we have several other things. We have claddings in the building, which has to be considered in the fire safety aspect, especially after the Grenfell Tower incident in UK. These claddings has become very important element of fire safety. That is an important consideration of fire safety. And PV rooftop, solar rooftop as well, because that also poses some hazard, fire hazard, because it will consist of DC source, DC arcing possibilities are there, and the systems that we use, whether it is meeting the regulation and quality, such concerns are there. So that several points are to be ensured. The first and foremost thing, whether what kind of products we are using, that is important, and whether our built environments are taking these elements to consideration, and are they properly maintained. Such
Right.
questions are there. So if you ask me about the mitigation measures, I would say that we need to use the correct products, we need to maintain, and we need to have an understanding about this hazard in the planning stage.
Okay. Sir, I'm just thinking. So, yeah, this is just through my understanding of the EV environment. All these EV car manufacturers, right?
Hmm.
So they talk about all the good benefits of an EV. They will talk about everything,
Yeah.
but they don't talk much about safety, right?
Uh,
So,
yeah, actually, this every business will they will try to project the good part, and EVs. It's actually a debate whether EVs are more prone to fire, or the conventional vehicles are more prone to fire. That's actually a debate. But one thing is clear. What is clear to me is that we, to an extent, we know what is an IC engine fire. I mean, the conventional
yeah,
vehicle fire, and
yes.
how to mitigate that. EV fire, on the other hand, we are not in a position to handle that very well. That's actually a reality. Things will evolve definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so moving forward, from your research, what do you think are the biggest gaps in fire safety regulations when it comes to high-rise buildings and more modern urban infrastructure?
Yeah, gaps. Fire regulations. I don't think the regulation as such is weak, or it has so much of scope for improvement. Because what we see in reality, regulations, there is actually a compliance that is checked for. uh, we comply this tick marks. This is there, tick tick, and what actually there after this compliance. So there's actually something called long-term reliability that we need to focus.
Okay.
Whether these systems are long-time reliable. So after several years, or after some time, after this compliance is ensured, what is the status of these regulations? Are they met? So there's actually a requirement of follow-up audits, fire risk assessments. Other than that, we will not be able to say that this is building is fire compliant, so it is safe. It is meaningless actually.
Mhm. Okay, so moving forward, how should fire safety systems evolve to handle the unique risk associated with electric vehicle fire and battery energy storage systems?
Yeah. So I have already mentioned the challenge of handling an EV fire. So battery, lithium and battery, if you consider it, there are different battery chemistries, and battery chemistries are also evolving for in
Mhm.
a safer way. But, but primary aspect is actually the energy density, how much energy you can store uh,
Mhm.
for a unit space. That is the foremost important thing, and how much range it can bring. Such things are there. But safety is also an important concern. And battery chemistries, as they evolve, I am feeling that it is getting more and more safer.
Mhm.
But lithium-ion batteries have a possibility of thermal runaway that we cannot totally dismiss. There is a possibility of thermal runaway. So runaway, the word itself means that there is no point of no return. So once it
Okay.
is runaway started, it's very difficult or it's impossible to bring it back to normalcy.
Mhm. Mhm.
So how can we manage this? Once it is crossing some threshold, battery is crossing some temperatures, we can call it as a critical temperature,
Mhm.
and some mechanical abuse if it is happening, some collision or some uh, penetration. So such things can cause this thermal runaway. Battery can go to a runaway stage, lithium-ion battery.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then it will go to a gas venting stage. It will release these flammable gases. It can cause a jet fire. Then it can cause explosions. Such things
Mhm.
can happen. So suppression of this thermal runaway. The thermal runaway is a unique mechanism if you compare it with our conventional fire, our fire triangle or fire tetrahedron, and this
Mhm.
thermal runaway is different. It does not require any oxygen actually.
Okay.
Thermal runaway to progress. Yeah.
That was the
It,
basic, right? Cut the oxygen, stop the fire.
Correct. So our conventional idea of fire extinguishment may not adequately apt for EV fires or lithium-ion battery management.
Mhm.
So it is actually a big question. Recently, there was Class L being introduced by ISO, uh, but we don't have a clear battery fire suppression mechanism or a medium.
Okay. Mhm.
So, and effective, how effective? There are some solutions recommended, or some solutions people recommend in the market, but
Mhm.
how effectively they are in the practical case, in experiment and all, in cell level, it will be effective. In practical case, the effectiveness is questionable. So we do not
Mhm.
have to be very clear that we do not have a clear, very satisfactory battery fire suppression medium is not available. It's actually getting evolved, we can say.
Okay.
And taking that into consideration, then what is the next thing that we can do in case of EV fire or a battery energy storage system fire? What we can do is actually the isolation and ensuring the safety of other equipment and nearby systems.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So we
uh,
leave the fire burning and protect the other things nearby.
to that is the reality. That's a very practical aspect to consider,
Mhm.
because trying to fight and suppress that and to completely bring it back to the previous stage is actually quite difficult, and there
Mhm.
are possibilities of reignition.
Okay.
The fire will, we think that it is suppressed, the battery fire can reignite. Such incidents for BESS as well, battery energy storage system. BESS, it's actually very relevant because BESS forms a battery energy storage system is one important aspect with connected with our renewable energy security.
Mhm.
So battery energy storage systems, we require that, and battery energy storage system farms, several units will be installed, just like our tank farm. It will be
Mhm.
installed. So that safety is also important. And
Okay.
being this new data center, all those things, being considering that this BESS is important. So fundamentally, both are all are lithium and battery based systems. So lithium and battery based systems have this problem of going into thermal runaway. It is hard to manage that thermal runaway stage. But I told you that we need these systems. We what we need is actually understanding the risk, understanding this hazard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, I was also thinking these days there's a talk on hydrogen, right? Hydrogen
Yeah.
as a fuel.
Yes.
But hydrogen is very combustible, right?
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
yeah, how
yes.
does that
Yeah.
work?
Your question is complete or
Yeah, complete.
yeah. Yes. See, hydrogen has its own unique hazards. If you see the ignition energy that is required to ignite hydrogen is very low, and the flammability limit is very wider. That means you can expect a fire in a very wide range of concentrations. And another thing is that hydrogen storages are very highly pressurized. So that is another hazard that if we consider in the safety angle. But hydrogen being considered as a safety fuel, but for the sustainable use and sustainability of hydrogen, there are technical and economic questions. Of course, there is actually hydrogen also is a debatable topic. Hydrogen, whether it is the future fuel, that's a debate. But safety questions are very real. As you said, hydrogen is highly combustible with the ignition energy, fire flammability. So safety of hydrogen is also to be planned, and that study is very relevant.
Okay, sir. So, how can communities and residents contribute to improving fire safety in urban environments, especially considering the rise of mixed use spaces like residential, commercial, and industrial?
Okay. So I started for the first question. I told you about the inherent risk that we have in the society. That's actually at the community level. That's at the people how they perceive risk and how they are prepared to handle this risk. So at the community level, we need to have so much of capacity building, so much of awareness, and it starts actually from if the people are well aware, the buying decision or the occupancy decision, it will have some, this fire safety also will have some value. Then the builders, the people, the stakeholders, they will have some interest to develop, invest fire safety systems. Not only fire safety, safety itself is actually a thing compromised. In built environment, to be honest, we all know that what we give priorities for the how Instagram worthy the interiors are, right, or the built environments are. But whether safety and fire safety is a concern, that is an aspect that we all should think. Beyond that picture perfect things, the safety also should be. So then there will be investment. The people will take this in seriously, and okay, people are looking for this. If people are asking about this, um, people, the builders and all will start to think. They will start to invest. That will also become their ad point, selling point. So that is there. And as you said, that mixed occupancy, it is true that many residential area they are starting small scale business, and they are fuel storage, unauthorized electrical connections, and poor electrical occupant, this fittings and all these can cause additional problems actually. So fundamental thing is we should have an awareness and understanding of this risk and hazard. And apart from that, community level, we can have several things done to improve the safety. Improve the safety. If we have, for instance, in a residential area, if we have emergency response team who are trained to handle this life safety and fire suppression, if they are trained. We have several installations. We have in many residential areas you can see postal hoses, hydrants, but how many people know how to use it? Even the security guards and all. So some training capacity building is required. Some leadership has to come from emergency response team. All those things can be a great deal actually.
Mhm. Okay, sir. So moving forward, the next question, like this is a very important question. Like, what are the academic gaps in fire safety education in India? What have you noted?
Yeah, so that's also an interesting question because I I was in academics, so I'm still in academics actually. So from 2015 to this point, I have been with university who offers fire safety program. Right now, also I am dealing with fire technology, my academic
Mhm.
teaching research. So I'm seeing that only a few institutions in India offer fire safety programs. There is NFSC Nagpur, there is Cochin University, and there are only few places. And in that also, the focus to fire and fire protection engineering is relatively or compared with the developed countries and the country that you are from, UK and all, the focus on fire technology or the fire protection engineering is actually relatively low, and the for performance based designing, that is,
Mhm.
in order to have some flexibility in the building, and in order to give life safety, we need to have some performance based designing as well. So this requires specific knowledge, and this knowledge is some fire. We need serious people in fire, and fire safety engineer should be there, fire protection engineer should be there, and we need to have capacity building education for our firefighters also, fire brigade as well, because they
Mhm.
are the people ultimately they should know the emerging risk, how to tackle the new things, how to handle the new challenges. So education is key actually.
Mhm. Okay. So, sir, as we look towards the future, what kind of innovations in fire safety do you think will emerge in the next 5 to 10 years, especially with AI, IoT, and other technologies?
Yeah, artificial intelligence, AI is still playing a good role in some systems like fire detection systems and all. Uh,
Mhm.
but it, as we all know, it is emerging, and many things we anticipated for future has already happened. So it's at a very fast pace. IoT, AI, it's already integrated to fire safety systems. And
Mhm.
as we move further, if you just simply extrapolate the graph, we can see that the progress that we can see. The data that live monitoring of the data uh, and integration of different set of data,
Mhm.
all can give faster and accurate predictions. So if the false alarms are low, if the systems are predicting faster, efficient, then it's a great thing that we can save the time, the evacuation, life safety, and we can have more efficient, dynamic management of systems, evacuation
Mhm.
planning, everything can be dynamic, and this life safety for life safety, it can be a great deal. So AI and IoT, such developments will be something very positive for this sector. Because for every safety, fire safety especially, it is a great thing. But
Mhm.
we are dealing with actually, to be honest, we are dealing with actually some fundamental problems, as I mentioned, which make this investments should happen. Then once we install, this should work for that long-term reliability I mentioned. So such fundamental issues are there. So if we are in like, we may be at the lower primary level or in school, but we are reading papers, research articles. So such a gap is there. So it's
Mhm.
AI, IoT. It will be a good thing, but we have fundamental problems to solve. That is why understanding. And this, suddenly remember the quote, one speech by one Mr. Santosh George Kulangara. He's a traveler, famous personality from Kerala. It
Okay.
is the problem with Indians are. problem with Indians is not building toilets. It is the fact that we are not washing it. So
Mm,
we need to install systems. We need to make sure that it works.
mhm.
So we are saying about the new things. So, but without solving the fundamental problems, awareness, public awareness, and that inherent part, we will not be able to make such big progress. That's my
Yeah,
observation.
makes sense. So, finally, can you share three key actions or changes that urban planners, building owners, and fire safety professionals should prioritize to ensure fire safety is built into the fabric of urban development?
Okay, three aspect. I would say the first thing is that the fire safety planning, it should happen in an early stage. At an early stage, it should happen during the planning of the building or any facility installation. The fire safety should be an important consideration. So it is not like you have all planning for the aesthetic appeal or the HVAC systems or the materials and all being installed. After that, you are thinking of fire safety. The efficiency and the system will be weak. Actually, the system will not be efficient. It will be much better if you consider it in the planning stage. So fire safety should be a mainstay in the planning stage itself. And I mentioned about the capacity building, education
Mhm,
awareness,
mhm,
and that will be the second one. So you asked about the third one. I would say the technology integration and ensuring long-term reliability.
mhm.
So one, two, three points then.
Okay, sure. So, thank you, Dr. Praveen. This has been an incredibly insightful conversation. You have helped us understand that fire safety must evolve with the times, adapting to new material, technologies, and urban challenges. It's not just about firefighting, but about building resilient systems and prevent fires from occurring in the first place. Thank you once again for your time and expertise. To everyone listening, if you find this episode valuable, do share it with your EHS, operations, and urban planning teams. And don't forget to subscribe to Hack Lab Podcast for more such discussions in which how we can build safer, smarter cities. Until next time, stay safe, stay prepared, and lead safety with intent. Take care and have a nice day. Bye bye.